In our last module, we have derived some summary measures of U statistic, say Mann-Whitney U statistic, using the representation in terms of standard U statistic. In this module, we shall start with an independent derivation of the summary measures of U statistic. Next, we shall show how U statistic can be used for testing. We also provide the large sample distribution, the associated test, correction for continuity, and modification when the data is ordinal. In addition, we provide a distribution-free confidence interval for the location difference using the cutoffs of the test based on Mann-Whitney U statistic. We have discussed so far the definition of Mann-Whitney U as a degree of separation of two populations, symmetry of U under the equality of distributions, and summary measures using the results of already discussed two-sample U statistics. In this module, we discuss an independent derivation of variance of Mann-Whitney U, some large sample properties, and an interesting application when the data is ordinal. So we start with finding the variance of U using a direct approach. A direct derivation of the variance of U will be easier to avoid memorizing the results of U statistic. Variance of U is nothing but the sum of the variances of Dij plus the sum of all possible covariances. The exact expression can be found in the slide. But we note that Dij are indicators of xi less than yj and U is the sum of Dijs. So these Dijs are not all uncorrelated, and hence there will be some positive covariance terms. Evaluating each term, each variance and covariance terms, the final expression can be obtained. First of all, note that Dij has a Bernoulli distribution with success probability P equal to probability x1 less than y1. Then variance of Dij is nothing but P into 1 minus P. Next, consider covariance between Dij and Dik. Since expected value of Dij equal to P, this covariance is nothing but the joint probability of yj greater than xi and yk greater than xi minus p square. Now, using a conditional argument, this joint probability reduces to the expected value of 1 minus gx1 whole square, where x1 has the distribution f. In a similar way, covariance between Dij and Dkj comes out as the expected value of f square x1, where x1 has a distribution g minus p square. However, Dij and Dgk are uncorrelated and hence we get the covariance as 0. Now we have Mn variance of Dij values, m into m minus 1 covariance between Dij and Dik values, and n into n minus 1 covariance between Dij and Dkj values. Combining all these, we get the final expression of variance of U, and the final expression can be found in the slide. Now, as earlier, if we assume f equal to g, we get p equal to half, and the joint probabilities are all equal to 1/3. Hence, using all this, we finally get the variance of U under h0 as mn multiplied by m plus n plus 1, whole thing divided by 12. Now, we briefly summarize the tests of different forms using U. As earlier, the distribution of U is discrete and hence tests will be randomized. For the alternative theta greater than 0, a size alpha test can be expressed as phi not equal to indicator U greater than U alpha plus A times indicator U equal to U alpha, where A and U alpha are such that expected value of phi not equal to alpha. That is, the test is of size alpha. Similarly, for theta less than 0, we get a left tail test. However, for the alternative theta not equal to 0, we note that the distribution of U is symmetric about mn by 2 under theta equal to 0. Then, a size alpha test can be expressed as phi not equal to indicator modulus of U minus mn by 2 greater than U alpha by 2 plus A times indicator absolute value of U minus mn by 2 equal to U alpha by 2, where U alpha by 2 and A are such that the test is of size alpha. Suppose we have a data and we calculate the observed value of u as u obs. Now, if we want to know the strength of this data in supporting the null hypothesis, then the natural way is to calculate the p-values. The one-sided p-values are either the probability that u exceeds the observed value of u or the probability that u is lower than the observed values of u, where the probability is evaluated assuming theta equal to 0. However, the two-sided p-value is 2 times the minimum of these two one-sided p-values. In any case, if this p-value exceeds alpha, the data strongly supports the null hypothesis. Next, we shall examine whether the distribution of a standardized version of u approaches a non-degenerate distribution for large sample sizes. Note that u divided by mn is nothing but a two-sample u statistic based on the kernel indicator xi less than yj. Assume that theta equal to 0. Then, if minimum of m and n tends to infinity such that m by m plus n and n by m plus n approaches proper fractions, then the standardized value of u divided by mn, say u star, approaches a standard normal distribution. Thus, asymptotic normality holds even for small values of n and m. We have plotted the mass function of u for various choices of n and m and superimposed the corresponding normal density. Since u has a discrete distribution, it is natural to know for what values of m and n the asymptotic normality holds. We find that the normal density approximates the distribution of u well even for n equal to 5 and m equal to 6. Next, we discuss a valid issue while approximating a discrete distribution by a continuous density. Actually, we are approximating the area of a histogram by the area under a continuous curve. Thus, in general, the distribution will be underestimated by the approximation. So, we need a modification which is commonly known as the continuity correction. The correction suggests to approximate probability u less than equal to small x under h naught by the CDF of a normal distribution with mean mn by 2 minus half and variance mn multiplied by m plus n plus 1 divided by 12 instead of a normal distribution with mean mn by 2 and the same variance. The improvement can be best explained by some plots. For illustration, we have taken m equal to 4 and n equal to 3 and plotted the distribution functions. Since the distribution of u is discrete, plot of the corresponding CDF of u is a step function. We have also plotted the normal distribution function without continuity correction, which is indicated by the continuous curve, and the normal distribution function with continuity correction, which is indicated in the graph by a dotted thick curve. Naturally, the continuity correction covers more region, thus better approximation is expected after correction for continuity. Once the asymptotic normality is established, the large sample test is straightforward. Naturally, we can use u star, the standardized value of u, to perform the test in large sample. For example, consider testing theta equal to 0 against theta greater than 0. Then, the corresponding large sample test is non-randomized and rejects the null hypothesis if the observed value of u star exceeds tau alpha, where tau alpha is the upper alpha percentage points of a standard normal distribution. Similarly, the large sample tests for the other hypothesis can also be constructed. Now, we shall consider the presence of ties. We have already assumed continuity of f and g, but in practice, ties can occur within either of the samples. However, in such a case, we get a unique value of u. But if one or more x observation is tied with one or more y observations, given definition of u is not applicable. In such a case, we redefine dij as dij equal to 1 if xi less than yj, equal to 0 if xi equal to yj, that is if there is a tie, and dij equal to -1 if xi greater than yj. Then the Mann-Whitney u is redefined as ut as summation I from 1 to n, summation j from 1 to m dij. Now define p plus as the probability of dij equal to 1, p minus as the probability of dij equal to -1, and p0 as the probability dij equal to 0. Then the sum of these probabilities are unity. That is p0 plus p minus plus p plus equal to 1. Now expected value of dij is nothing but 1 multiplied by probability xi less than yj minus probability xi greater than yj. Since we have defined p plus as probability dij equal to 1 and p minus as probability dij equal to -1, we get expected value of dij as p plus minus p minus. So that expected value of ut is nothing but mn into p plus minus p minus. The null hypothesis of interest in this case is p plus equal to p minus, since we have assumed p0 greater than 0. Now expected value of dij square is p plus plus p minus or 1 minus p0, and hence we get variance of dij as 1 minus p0 minus p plus minus p minus whole square. Using the same procedure as adopted in the derivation of variance of u, variance of ut can be obtained. However, the variance of ut conditional upon the observed ties under the null hypothesis can be calculated as variance of u multiplied by a correction factor for ties. The correction factor is nothing but 1 minus summation tk cube minus tk divided by m plus n whole cube minus m plus n, where ti is the multiplicity of the ith type. Naturally, if ti equal to 1 for all I, then we get the same variance as we obtained in the non-tied situation. Then for moderate m plus n, that is the sample size, large sample normality of the statistic ut minus 0 whole thing divided by the square root of the conditional variance holds, and hence large sample tests can be performed. We have discussed so far the procedure for continuous data, but adjustment of ties makes Mann-Whitney test applicable to the ordinal data. We start with a simple example to explain how the statistic is calculated for ordinal data. Consider the following data on grades obtained by a group of patients assigned treatment 1 and treatment 2, and we note that the grades are either A or B or C, where A being the highest grade and C being the lowest grade. The objective is naturally to compare the performance of two treatments. From the data, it is seen that the responses are tied as there are two observations with grade B and two observations with grade C. Suppose the response of treatment 1 is Y and that of treatment 2 is indicated by X. Then Y is either A, B or C and X is either B or C. We arrange the possible values of Y and X in a two-way table as shown below. Then, using the definition, Dij values can be calculated. Now, the sum of the elements in the above matrix is 2 and this is the observed value of ut. Also, the tied ranks are of length Tb equal to 2 and Tc equal to 2. Thus, the modified statistic can be calculated for the purpose in the way shown above. Next, we shall discuss consistency of the Mann-Whitney test. For example, consider testing theta equal to 0 against the alternative theta greater than 0. Then, the test can be equivalently expressed as in terms of t equal to u divided by mn, that is, t is nothing but the u statistic. Then, from the convergence of u statistic, t convergence in probability to the probability x1 less than y1. If we define y1 naught as the difference y1 minus theta, then y1 has a distribution f x minus theta is equivalent to saying that y10 has a distribution fx. Thus, we get probability x1 less than y1 is nothing but probability x1 less than y1 naught plus theta. Now, define mu f as probability x1 less than y1 naught plus theta. Now, if theta equal to 0, then x1 and y1 naught are IID observations and hence mu f equal to half. However, for theta greater than 0, x1 less than y1 naught is a subset of x1 less than y1 naught plus theta, and hence mu f exceeds half whenever theta greater than 0. Hence, mu f equal to half if theta equal to 0 and mu f greater than half if theta greater than 0. Thus, the Mann-Whitney test is consistent against the alternative theta greater than 0. Consistency against the alternative theta less than 0 can also be similarly proved. However, if we consider the two-sided alternative theta not equal to 0, we have to use the statistic modulus of u by mn minus half, and the consistency can be proved as earlier. After performing a test, it is natural to ask for a confidence interval. As earlier, we can use the cutoffs of Mann-Whitney test to get a confidence interval of theta with confidence coefficient at least 1 minus alpha. The idea is, as usual, the inversion of the acceptance region of the non-randomized level alpha test. Thus, consider the acceptance region of the non-randomized level alpha test for theta equal to 0 against theta not equal to 0. Note that under any theta xi, I running from 1 to small n, and yj, j running from 1 to small m, are IID observations from some distribution f. Then define u theta as summation I from 1 to n, j from 1 to m, indicator yj minus xi greater than theta. Then u naught is nothing but the Mann-Whitney statistic. Now, due to symmetry, the acceptance region can be expressed as c less than equal to u naught less than equal to mn minus c, where c is such that probability of the event c less than equal to u naught less than equal to mn minus c is at least 1 minus alpha under the null hypothesis. Let us arrange the mn differences yj minus xi in increasing order and denote them by d ordered 1 less than equal to d ordered 2 up to less than equal to d ordered mn. Now, it is known that the rth order statistic is less than some constant k if and only if at least r observations are less than k. Then u theta less than equal to mn minus c is equivalent to mn minus u theta greater than equal to c. Now, mn minus u theta is nothing but the number of differences yj minus xi exceeding theta. Thus, mn minus u theta greater than equal to c is equivalent to theta greater than d ordered c. Similarly, u theta greater than equal to c is equivalent to theta less than d ordered mn minus c plus 1. Thus, c less than equal to u theta less than equal to mn minus c is equivalent to d ordered c less than theta less than d ordered mn minus c plus 1. Then, the random interval d ordered c d mn minus c plus 1 covers theta with probability c less than equal to u theta less than equal to mn minus c. Since the distribution of u theta under theta is nothing but the distribution of u naught under the null hypothesis, we have probability c less than equal to u theta less than equal to mn minus c evaluated under theta is nothing but the probability c less than equal to u naught less than equal to mn minus c evaluated under the null hypothesis. Since the test is of level alpha, probability that c less than equal to u naught less than equal to mn minus c under h naught is nothing but at least 1 minus alpha. Thus, the coverage probability of the random interval d ordered c d ordered mn minus c plus 1 is at least 1 minus alpha. Hence, the interval d ordered c d mn minus c plus 1 is a confidence interval for theta with confidence probability at least 1 minus alpha. Next, we shall discuss the determination of total sample size for the Mann-Whitney test subject to some given constants. For example, consider testing theta equal to 0 against theta equal to theta 1, where theta 1 is positive for specified theta 1. The experiment should be designed in such a way that the difference theta 1 can be identified with high probability but with minimum sample size. However, we have two samples and we start with determining the total sample size. The usual technique is to determine the total sample size such that the test has size alpha and power at the alternative as 1 minus beta, where alpha and beta are specified in advance. However, determination of exact sample size is not easier in practice and we need to use some approximation. Then, following the JASA work of Noether, the approximate total sample size m plus n can be expressed as tau alpha plus tau beta whole square divided by 12 into lambda into 1 minus lambda into p minus half whole square, where p is nothing but probability y1 greater than x1 and lambda is m by m plus n. Naturally, p depends on unknown f. So, for the purpose of comparison, we considered three distributions, namely normal, Cauchy and Laplace. For the first population, we consider normal 0,1, Cauchy 0,1 and Laplace 0,1 distributions, and for the second population, we take the same distributions but with location parameter theta. Then, we consider testing theta equal to 0 against the alternative theta greater than 0. And for various choices of theta, we have computed the sample size by the Noether approximate formula, taking alpha equal to 0.05 and beta equal to 0.2. The nature of the approximate sample size can be traced from the next page figure. Thus, we see that the curve for the normal distribution is below the other two curves. Therefore, normal distribution takes the lowest number of samples to reach the desired power level among the candidates. On the other hand, Cauchy distribution takes the highest number of observations to reach 80% power. Thus, we see that Mann-Whitney U-test is a competitor of two-sample t-test. It only assumes independence and continuity of the underlying population. Therefore, this test could be a good option for the non-normal distributions. We have thus seen how Mann-Whitney test is an alternative to two-sample t-test. We have also discussed asymptotic normality, consistency, and some other properties of such a test. We have also discussed Noether approximation to sample size subject to some inferential constraint. But Mann-Whitney test is not limited to location problems. It can also be used for scale problems. We shall discuss all these things in details in our future modules.